Satellite communication. A satellite is an artificial body placed in an orbit around the Earth or another planet. The communication satellites relay around the world telephone and fax messages, television programs, radio signals, and so on. Principle of satellite communication. The process of communication begins in an Earth station. The Earth station is an installation designed to transmit and receive signals from a satellite in orbit around the Earth. Earth stations send information in the form of high-powered, high-frequency signals to satellites that receive and retransmit the signals back to Earth. These retransmitted signals are then received by other Earth stations in the coverage area of the satellite. The area which receives the signal from the satellite is known as the satellite's footprint. The transmission system from the Earth station to the satellite is called the uplink, and the transmission system from the satellite to the Earth station is called the downlink. Here you have the schematic representation of the principle of satellite communication. To avoid confusion, the uplink and downlink frequencies are kept different. To understand the principle of satellite communication system, go through the block diagram displayed here. Before designing a satellite communication system, we must choose the orbit in which the satellite is to be placed. The three types of orbits generally used for communication purposes are geostationary orbit or geosynchronous orbit, polar orbit, and inclined highly elliptical orbit. Geostationary orbit. In this type of orbit, the satellite takes 24 hours to circle once around the Earth. Since the period of revolution of the satellite is equal to the period of rotation of the Earth, the satellite appears to be stationary in the sky. The geostationary orbit is sometimes referred to as Clarke's orbit. This is in honor of Arthur C. Clarke, the man who first suggested in 1945 that satellites in geosynchronous orbits could be used for communications purposes. The entire Earth can be linked or covered by the communication network if three geosynchronous satellites are placed at the vertices of an equilateral triangle. Each of the satellites covers 1/3 of the globe. Polar orbit. This type of orbit is placed 1,000 kilometers above the Earth's surface. It passes over the poles. The angle of inclination of this orbit is 90 degrees. It scans the whole Earth in every 12 hours. Satellites used for weather monitoring are launched into a polar orbit. Inclined highly elliptical orbit. It is used for establishing communication with regions at high latitudes. The angle of inclination of this orbit is equal to 63 degrees. For easy comprehension of the application of the communication satellites, go through the flowchart shown here.